Hello everyone, it's me John here with another episode of Brain Scratch Case Cracked for Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017. I hope you're all having a great day so far. Today we're going to be looking into the case of Nova Welsh, or it might be Norva, N-O-R-V-A Welsh. It's really interesting. Every now and then I have this happen when I research a case where I'll find some major discrepancy like that and don't know where to go for a source of truth. I've literally seen Norva written in certain articles. I've seen other articles that say it's Nova, and I've seen another type of article that actually uses both in the same article. Now, I did happen to see a picture from back at that time where it was spelled just N-O-V-A, so I'm going to assume that it's Nova going forward, but let's talk about this mystery and how this case got cracked. Nova Welsh was born in Jamaica in 1957. Her family considered her a quiet girl in general, but also noted that Nova could get along with just about anyone. Her family moved to the UK when she was just 10 years old, and at the age of 16, Nova decided to move out of her family home and move in with her boyfriend, Osmond Bell. It was a rocky relationship. According to family members, they fought often, and Osmond would sometimes get violent. They had 2 children together, but by June of 1981, after an 8-year relationship, Osmond had moved out and Nova was restarting her life. She was working as a part-time cleaner, had a new boyfriend named Wayne Newby, and was living in a flat in Ladywood, Birmingham, England. Her 2 young boys, one of them 6-year-old and the other one just 2, lived with their father in Handsworth. August of 1981. Nova's parents and younger siblings moved yet again, this time to Miami, Florida, and they were hoping that she would eventually join them there. 3 days after they arrived, Nova's mother tried to call her to let her know that they had arrived safely, but she couldn't get a hold of her daughter. By August 9th, a friend and neighbor of Nova's named Lorna Edmonds also realized she was missing. The last time she saw Nova was July 22nd. Lorna tried to call Nova several times and got no answer. She also noticed that Nova's laundry was hanging out on the clothesline for multiple days. She contacted police and filed an official missing persons report. A local paper ran an article with pictures of Nova's children and quotes from them begging their mother to come home. They were told that their mother was going out to buy them sweets when she had disappeared. A few days later, Lorna received an anonymous letter suggesting that Nova's new boyfriend, Wayne, might have been responsible. The letter seemed like it was written by a woman who had seen Nova and Wayne in a fight and that Wayne had struck her. Towards the end of the letter, it stated, quote, "I don't think no man should treat a woman like that." Very curious that the letter seemed to be predicting that she had met a violent end when no one even knew where Nova was. Other residents at the block of flats that Nova lived at started complaining about a terrible smell coming from the basement. On August 18th of 1981, Nova's body was found in a storage cupboard in the basement, 2 floors below her flat. She was in her night clothes and had been wrapped in a blanket. Investigators would learn that she was likely killed during the early morning hours of July 27, 1981. Cause of death was strangulation, resulting in a broken neck, and some odd evidence had also been left behind. A wad of chewing gum was used to secure a lock on the cupboard containing her body. The gum was collected as evidence. Osmond Bell was arrested, but later released with no charges. Osmond said that he last saw her on July 25th, 2 days before she was killed. He denied writing the letter sent to Nova's friend, but does say that he inspected it while being interrogated by the police. Another unnamed man was also arrested and later released without charge as well. In December of 1982, an inquest was held. Detectives stated that they believed the anonymous letter was either written by the killer or that the killer had someone else write it for them. The investigation continued, with more than 300 witness statements being collected, but eventually the leads dried out and the case went cold. Unfortunately, this case wouldn't get cracked for another 35 years. A cold case unit would reinvestigate the case and the gum. After several decades of storage, it would finally be DNA tested. They also took the anonymous letter and tested that as well. The DNA sample from the gum provided a very strong match, 1,000,000,000 to 1. But what about the letter? The DNA sample actually came from the envelope where you lick it and seal the envelope closed. The sample from the lick seal was noted as being incomplete. However, it did also match Osmond. Osmond Bell, now 59 years old, was charged in August of 2016, almost precisely 35 years after Nova was killed. The trial was set for February of 2017. Osmond says police were rough with him during the interrogation, calling him a racist, striking him in the head, and even kicking a chair out from under him. Quote, "To say I was racially abused is an understatement," he told the jury in 2017 when facing charges for murdering Nova. During the trial, he also stated that both the letter and the envelope were left with him in the interrogation room, and that's likely how his DNA wound up on the envelope. I assume that the evidence from the chewing gum was much more compelling to the jurors. It was chewed and put into place to help keep the cupboard shut, the same cupboard that Nova was put into. Osmond also had a reason for this, stating that he had previously accessed that cupboard several times while running a washing machine repair business. The cupboard door had been forced open at one point, and he repaired it by using chewing gum as a filler in the piece that had broken. The prosecution painted an image of Osmond as a jealous and rageful ex who couldn't stand that Nova had a new love in her life and even went as far as threatening to kill her if she ever left him. On March 22nd of 2017, the jurors wound up acquitting him of murder, likely due to there being a lack of evidence that the crime was pre-planned. However, they did convict him of manslaughter with an 11-to-1 vote after a 6-week trial. He will serve 12 years in jail. Nova's younger sister, Valeria, says that she has forgiven Osmond and that their family is determined to move on with their lives, knowing justice has been done for Nova. Nova's friend Lorna says Nova was a lovely person, always happy and smiling. She was a devoted mother who loved her 2 boys very much. I still miss Nova. I will never forget her. Till we meet again, Nova. Nova's mother has also recently commented, finally, after 36 long years, Nova can rest in peace. So the really interesting thing about this case, obviously, is here we are with another DNA test that is coming decades later. Technology finally catching up to some of these cases and putting what looks like the right person behind bars. Now, that being said, I do think that the reason that Osmond gave for the gum being there throws a little bit of a question into this for me. If he really did use that cupboard previously and really did repair it in that kind of quickie way, what's the indicator that that gum was actually put into that fix when Nova's body was placed there? It could be that the gum was actually there before her body was put in there, if this was a sturdy fix. And I think that's really what it comes down to. Unfortunately, there's not enough of the information publicly available for me to say how the prosecution won over that part of the case, because I do think he raises a little piece of questionable doubt there. But as for the DNA evidence being found on the envelope, I think if you get into the technicalities of that, it's pretty tough, because I assume that they were extracting it from a part of the envelope that might have been closed. You know, typically people, when they open envelopes, you either tear through the top or something like that, and the piece that was glued shut sometimes stays closed. Not all the time, but once again, we don't have enough information in this case to make that determination. But he sure did seem to have a couple of excuses for his DNA being in those places. What do you guys think? Were those excuses reasonable, or was he just grasping at straws trying to avoid being held accountable for something that he had done 35 years before. In any case, the jury says he did it. 35 years later, he's serving 12 years, and this case is cracked. Thank you so much for spending some time with me here today. I appreciate each and every one of you that supports the channel. Thank you so much. I will see you next time back here on Lord and I.